I cried out. I cried violence and spoil, because the word of the Lord was made a reproach unto me, and a desertion daily.
He says no good in God's word. He says, ever since I cried out, I've been in trouble. Verse 9, he allows his problems to make his decisions. Look at 9, verse 9.
Then I said, I will not make mention of him.
So he let his problems make his decision. Never let your problems make your decisions. Verse 10, he heard what people were saying about him.
For I heard the defaming of many.
They were defaming him. Why? Don't let people and what people are saying affect you, because they're defaming you. Verse 11.
But the Lord is with me as a mighty terrible one.
He did all that talk, but the only thing that got him out of it, he came back and changed his view. But he reverts back into depression again in verse 14.
Cursed be the day wherein I was born.
So he's going through this. I'm good, I'm bad. I'm good, I'm bad. Going back. I'm all right. He reverts back. All of this is because of his thinking. Jonah was depressed. Jonah chapter 4 and 1. All right, are y'all trying to find the page? Everybody got it? Jonah was depressed. Jonah 4 and 1. I'm talking about all these men of God that experienced depression.
But it displeased Jonah exceedingly.
Yes.
And he was very angry. And he prayed unto the Lord and said, I pray thee.
He was depressed because he was unforgiving.
O Lord, was.
All right. Jonah was depressed. Gideon was depressed. All right.
O Lord, was not this my saying when I was yet in my country?
All right. This is Jonah's depression. Let's go over now where it says Gideon's depression. All right. He was depressed over several things. He asked the Lord, said, if this be the case, where are all the miracles? So Gideon depressed. David was depressed. 1 Samuel chapter 30. Let's talk about David's depression. Y'all see where it says David was depressed? All right. All right. Go ahead and follow. Pick up. David's name is in there. Find David. Y'all got him? All right. Y'all got him now, right? Oh, y'all trying to fill it in? Oh, I told you if I go fast, you're going to come back and watch the board. I'm behind time. All right, go where it says David. Don't try to, if you miss it, don't try to get it in now. We'll come back to it, all right? We're going to have the board up, and you'll be able to see whatever you need to see. All right, David's depression. 1 Samuel 30 and 1. 1 Samuel 30 and 1.
And it came to pass, when David and his men came to Ziklag on the third day, and the Amalekites had invaded the south, and Ziklag had smitten Ziklag and burned it with fire, and had taken the women captives, that therein they slew not any.
What verse you on?
Verse 2. Either great or small.
All right, so verse 1 through 3, David lost everything. He lost everything. It was gone. All right, you'll see that. 1 through 3, he lost everything. Right? Then verse 4, he wept and lost his power. All right, read.
Then David and the people that were with him lifted up their voice and wept until they had no more power to weep.
They lost their power by weeping. Stop crying all the time. You'll lose your power. You're weeping too much. Get up and rejoice. That's why some of y'all feel so powerless. Stop crying. He weep, had no more power. Weeping to drive the power out of you. Pray instead of crying. Fast, read your Bible. Stop weeping. You're taken out of yourself. Woman, why weepest thou? Look at this. It affected his family. Verse 5. We got verse 4, wept and lost the power. Verse 5, family was affected. Read.
And David's 2 wives were taken captives, Ahinoam and Jezreel, and Abigail, the wife of Nabal.
His family was affected. How many in ministry your family start getting affected? Sometimes not only is your family affected, but sometimes your family is affecting you. They're going through, you going through, people talking about them. You got the battle between the church and the family. All this was going on. Verse 6, David distressed because of how the people failed. Get verse 6.
And David was greatly distressed for the people's sake of the stoning him, because the
people talk about killing him. Yeah. They talk about leaving the church with you. They talk about killing him. That's enough to drive you to depression. But verse 7, David going to get out of it. Read.
And David said to Abiathar, the priest, Abimelech's son, I pray thee, bring me hither the ephod.
Get me that ephod. Get me something. I'm depressed. I ain't going to stay here. I need something to reach God. Get me the ephod.
And Abiathar brought thither the ephod to David. And David inquired at the Lord, saying, shall I pursue after this troop? Shall I overtake them?
That's all you need, is to get a hold of God. All you need is a good prayer life. All you need is to reach God. Then the Bible talks about David got up and said, Lord, shall I pursue? It's talking about David encouraged himself. He got out of it. You can get out of it. Jesus was depressed. He said, and he had the type of depression that was talking about suicide. My soul is exceedingly sorrowful, even unto death. But he knew the cure. He fell on his face. He went a little further and fell on his face. Well, it encouraged me to know if Moses went through it, Elijah went through it, Jeremiah went through it, Jonah went through it, David went through it, Gideon went through it, and Jesus went through it. There's a chart that you got there. And I won't have time to read all of it. I'll have that up so you can fill it in. But Jesus went through it. People you serve. Moses was going through it because of the children of Israel. Elijah was going through it because of King Ahab and Jezebel. Jeremiah was going through it because of Dishor. Jonah, he was going through it because of God. David, he was going through it because of the men of his army. Gideon was going through it because of the nation of Israel. Jesus was going through it because of one of his disciples. The feeling alone, all of them experienced. Felt like dying, all of them experienced. But every one of them had different problems and different people, but each one of them had the same cure. That was communion with God. I don't care what it is you're going through, I don't care who is causing the problem. There's one cure for it. Communion with God. It'll get rid of everything. A good prayer life is the key to overcoming ministerial depression. All right? A good prayer life, you see those hands over there, turn over, and we'll make sure this is on the board, so don't get discouraged if I'm going a little fast. A leader, all leaders who intend to be happy must maintain a prayer life. Must maintain a prayer life. I want to write that down. Amen. I'm going a little slower now where you can get that part. Maintain. Don't just get one, but maintain means to keep one. Our prayer must include speaking to God about the people we serve. So we got to also talk to God about the people we serve. Our prayer must include speaking to God about the people we serve. What are they telling God about? What are you telling God about the people? Moses told God, you see, what are you telling God about the people? You see that? Moses told God they're burdensome. All right? They're burdensome. Elijah told God they have forsaken thy covenant. Jeremiah told God they'll reproach me. Jonah told God, I told you so. I told you were going to let them people live. That's why I didn't want to go down there in the first place. I told you you're going to save them. I told you so. David asked God, shall I pursue? And Gideon asked God, how are we going to do it? But all of them had questions. You have some questions about things going on in the church? Questions about things going on in the ministry? Talk to God. What are you praying and saying about the enemy in the congregation of God's people in general? What are you saying? Are you communicating with God about it? Somebody say hallelujah. I'm going to go into this other lesson. I just need you to take about 5 minutes. If you're in any type of ministry, if you're pastoring, if you're pastor's wife, you're deacon, whatever aspect of the ministry you're a part of, I want you to take your hands and lift them, and I want you to talk to God about the people that you work with. Talk to God about ministry. Talk to God about your tasks. I don't care if it's an usher, I don't care if it's a choir, president, secretary, musician. Talk to God about what you do and who you work with, your responsibility. People that you find it difficult to work with. Tasks you feel like are overwhelming. Saying this, and we're going to our next part. You ought to know it. Let us have a little talk with Jesus. Tell him all about how he will hear you. He will answer by when you feel then you know my God has heard. Oh, just a little talk with Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Glory to God. Tell somebody next to you, I'm talking to God about some people. Hallelujah. Tell them again, I'm talking to God about some people. Talking to God about some things. Come on, give him a praise. I want to talk now because I want to make sure that we can help prevent some of the stuff that we deal with by auxiliaries. And I want to, auxiliaries are very important. Auxiliaries are, this is the page we're on, but auxiliaries provide supplementary or additional help and support. All right? So it's establishing auxiliaries and boards. Y'all see that? Everybody got that page? Establishing auxiliaries and board. Let me make sure everybody's on that page. Establishing auxiliaries and boards. All right. So auxiliaries provide extras, spare, reserve, backup, emergencies, fallback, others, more. That's what auxiliaries are for. An auxiliary is to complete or enhance something. Auxiliaries help enhance the ministry of the pastor. Auxiliary are ministries that help enhance what the pastor do. You can just cook chicken, but then you can put some season on it that enhances the taste. You can be a pastor that just pastors. You can have the ministry enhanced by having other people who are auxiliaries who are the season to what you do to make your job more effective. The main three auxiliaries in a church, these are the main three, are the women's department, the youth department, and the men's department. Those are the main three auxiliaries in the church. I call them the arteries or the veins of the church simply because if you cover those three, everybody in the church is covered. Because we don't have that third gender. If they're a woman, a youth, or a man, those three cover it. So every church needs those in operation. Not just the pastor, but these three are important to help enhance what you do. You need a women's president, a youth president, and a men's president to help minister in those areas, all right? These three auxiliaries, these are the three main auxiliaries in the church. What does a complete auxiliary consist of? All right? An auxiliary team. In the Church of God, the Bible way, auxiliary, the women's department team has a woman's council, president, who's over the women, the church mother, willing women workers, praying women, single women, married living single women, ministers and deacons, steward wives guild. That guild I think is spelled wrong. But all of this is something that should be operating in the women's department. And if these are not operating in a women's department locally within the Church of God, the Bible, where you do not have a full operating women's department. And I'm expecting by the time we get out of the convention in November that every church that is of a certain size have all of these working within each church. So I'm putting it out here in this meeting so that by the time I come next November and visit, that every church is expected to have this. If the churches are too small, they can combine together and work on having these together. But this is what we call a full functioning auxiliary. And if you don't have that in the local church, you're not a full functioning auxiliary. And you should be working on having full functioning auxiliary. In the youth department, there should be a youth president, a youth evangelist, youth workers for Christ, youth leaders for ages 5 to 10, youth leaders from 11 to 13, youth leaders from 14 to 17, and 18 to 25. I think that was 35. But however, you can break your ages down based upon what you need in the church because you know what's there. But you do need to have some type of youth that caters to each young people's department. All right, you can break it down based upon what you have because you may not have everybody in those categories, but that's what you should do. In a brotherhood department, you have the brotherhood president, the deacons, the stewards, the trustees, and the apostolic union. The apostolic union. That should be full function. So all the women's department should have all of these operating. The women's department should have all of these operating. The youth department should have operating. And then in addition, there are some departments that should also have, like Promise and Virtue Seeds. Those are extra. The chastity classes, all these other things that should be into the ministry. And the fact is, these need to be in there so that they can minister to the needs of the people. The apostles in Acts 6 said we're going to give ourselves to the word of God and prayer, but we need other ministries in the church that can take care of things that are neglected. And every church needs to have these operating in the church. First, how do we do it? First, appoint one leader to be the head of each group, women, youth, and men. So if you're going to do this as a pastor, you should appoint somebody to be a head of each group. Appoint a men's president to be over the men. A woman's president to be over the woman. Youth president, someone to be over the youth. So you're going to select the people that you're going to have, and once you select them, you're going to give them a job description. I would like to say it's good to know the job description first so that when you select them, you can let them know what you're wanting them to do and have a plan to train them. So you got the second, give them a job description, duties and qualifications. They need to know the duties and qualification of what it is that they're to do. We got a lot of people in the Church of God, by the way, who have positions, but they don't do what they're supposed to do. Some are not doing it because they don't know. They're just given a title. That's why we're here now, so that you can know. Others know and just won't do, and some know and just don't know how to get it started. That is the leader's job. I'm here today with every one of you because the Lord has given you as working under the leadership that he's given me. And I'm here making sure that I train you. You're supposed to do the same thing. If you're over the women's department, the youth department, and the men's department, pastors and leaders, wherever you are, it's your job to train the people to do what they're supposed to be doing. That's why I'm here today. I'm here to make sure that I train you, then I'm not held accountable. And I'm investing that time to put in you. You have to invest in time to set these auxiliaries up and to teach the people and give them their responsibilities and give them their duties. So second, give them a job description, duties, and qualifications. Next, let the people you choose bring their selection of people for the team to you for you to examine or approve. All right, go ahead and let them bring people to you for you to examine or approve. And if the pastor turns people down, don't tell people before you bring it to the pastor, because then you're going to be embarrassed if they say no, because they know issues that you don't know. Get your selected group of people. They pass. I think I'd like to have Sister so-and-so to work on this and Sister so-and-so to work on this. See if the pastor will approve them or disapprove them, or will he appoint somebody to help you. So that's the next thing to do. I hope this is helping. Gives us some steps to go by. Lastly, have a prayer and consecration of the leaders. Lastly, once you got them approved, before you do anything, pray over them. Consecrate them for what you've asked them to do. I don't care if it's the usher board. I don't care if it's sweeping the floor. Because some of those offices, you need it. I said those are auxiliaries. I call them auxiliaries. Difference between an auxiliary and an office. An office is something that God particularly ordained and called a job. But auxiliary is something that you feel like, I need you to help me in order to fulfill my task. Acts chapter 6 and 1. The apostles selected brethren to fill office in the church. So they selected those, but they selected from what the deacons brought to them, what the brothers brought to them. Wherefore, brethren,
wherefore, brethren, look ye out among you 7 men of honest report, full of the Holy Ghost and wisdom, whom we may appoint over this.
So you get them, and then we'll appoint them. So that's the order that I'm saying. You bring your selection to the pastor, and the pastor decide on what you brought. Now, this is very easy, and every leader that you're expecting to be over department, you should give him this form like this. So if I'm going to say I'm going to get Brother Bob there, who's going to head the brotherhood. He's the head brotherhood chairman. He would say, I got one person I'd like to put him there. Somebody over the steward department, I'd like to put them there. Somebody over the trustees, somebody over the apostolic union. You bring that to your pastor on that paper, and the pastor can decide whether he's going to use them or not. Okay? You go down to the women's department. This is the form that the women's department should have. So you give them one of those. So if I'm going to select Brother Bob, I'm going to give Brother Bob that paper. Say, Brother Bob, here you are. You're over the brotherhood department. Set this up. Tell me who you got and bring it back. Sister so-and-so, you're over the women's department. Here you are. Set this up. Bring me back and let me know who you select, and then I can decide. So they're going to put a mother down, willing women working for Christ, or praying women, single, and they get that and turn that into you, and then you're able now to determine what you will approve or not approve. All right? The youth president. Go to the youth president. Same thing. Now, what we are allowing in November, and we're going to in November, is we're going to allow each national office, and even in the local, our local, to be able to select their cabinet that will work with them and bring that to us for approval. So they can select the cabinet they have. So if you are over this and over that, you'll be able to select your cabinet. And when I look at selection of people, I look at, are these your friends? I look at, are these your families? Or are these people that you always used to working with? Because I want you to work with people that you're not used to working with. Because it's not building relationship and it's not building departments if the same people are doing the same thing. And most of you all, and a lot of time when it comes to women, and I'm not down on you, you prefer to work with people that you're comfortable with and people that give you no challenges. And that's why you always have the same people working with you over and over again. You look at the program and look at things that you've done, and look at things and see how many times you went outside of your circle. You, your cousin, your auntie, your best friend. You, your cousin, best friend. Their children and their children, that's it. One, because it's easier, because those people we know will do it. Secondarily, we don't like to go and cross bridges and go to other people. Just like in this meeting, I got people that I work with all the time. Jackie, Sister Sherry, Sister Camellia, Sister Johnson, Johnson & Johnson. All right? But I didn't tell you who I was working with. I selected a secret service, people that I ain't never used before, people that I don't use, and they were right on target. From different locations, different people, selected them. I needed them to work because I want to reach out to make sure that other people. Now, you see, the staff that I usually have to work with, they didn't have to do much. They had already done theirs when they came. And now you all can work. Now that means now I got 4 more people that I can select for the use to use this. And now this conference happened again, I already got y'all available. And then it makes you feel a part. Makes you feel like a lot of people don't get involved in stuff because they don't feel like they're a part. So I will, when you bring me something to, when you bring me one of these, the first thing I'm looking at is how many of your relatives got. Second thing I'm looking at, see how many of your people that you don't get along you got on there, because I want some of them on there too. Because sometimes you don't get along with people that got some very good talents. And you refuse to let them use them because they may be challenging. Well, as leaders, I look for you to work through that. Jesus didn't even pick a good staff himself that was all good. He picked up devil in his. Everybody need a devil. You got to you come to me with at least one enemy. Don't tell me who they are. Don't tell them that's why you picked them either. Pastor told me to get an enemy, so would you be on this board? All right. Make sure each auxiliary leader understands their purpose, duties, and schedule. Purpose, duties, and schedule. The president. All right, we got that. Am I going too fast still? All right. Well, y'all have to get it later. I done told y'all about 5 times. All right. You'll get it later. It'll be here. It'll be here. All right. Make sure each auxiliary leader understands their purpose, duty, and schedule. Let's say purpose, duty, and schedule. All right. Duties, conduct monthly, I'll give you an example. Duties, conduct monthly auxiliary service and monthly fellowships, oversee the functions of all offices. And this is the president's office, under the scope of the women's ministry, conduct women's meeting, etc. Purpose. It's not important that you are doing what you do, but that you know why you're doing what you do. Why am I having these meetings? Because then they'll be having meetings and don't know why you're there. Ain't nothing like going to a meeting, supposed to be a meeting about a women's department, and y'all get to talk about so much other stuff because there ain't nothing to talk about. You just have a meeting because it's the month they have a meeting. To provide support, leadership, guidance to those who hold an office in the women's department while supervising the service the team is provided. Whenever I see a department that has something broke down in it, it's telling me that you're not having meetings on a regular basis, because if you were having meetings on a regular basis, you would be addressing those issues. We got churches that don't have a full women's department, churches don't have a full youth department, churches don't have a full men's department. That tells me that you're not connecting with those people throughout the year to address these issues. Because people that have monthly meetings, I have a weekly meeting at 9 o'clock every Sunday. There's a weekly business meeting at 9 o'clock from 9 to 9:30. Now, I used to be in that meeting. I gave it to them to make sure to operate, but that's every Sunday morning. So if you got stuff that's slacking, that means you're not addressing these issues. Because if you was doing it on a monthly base or a weekly base, you would see what's going on and dealing with it, all right? All right, that's the purpose of the meeting. Not to sit around and talk about the stuff that y'all did good. You want to address the things that's not there so you can solve them. Schedule. You got a schedule. Make a schedule. Monday prayer, Tuesday auxiliary service, Thursday fellowship, weekly chastity classes and programs and annual. So you get all of this laid out. That's what the president is supposed to do, and make sure that this is the stuff that's done. All right? Then we go down to the church mother. We're going to give her duties. Everybody going to have their duties. Oversee monthly women's meeting, communion preparation, women's class, operate the chastity class. She has the oversight of all the mothers, making sure that each is working within the mother board. Purpose, to provide training and support for the marriage and single women, to assist the women's president in fulfilling her duties and responsibilities as appointed. To schedule the Tuesday of every month is Women's Night, the week of washing class and home meal. They got different things that they're holding. Now, this is in our local church, some of the things that I want to implement, but at least the mother knows what her duties are. Every church should have that in place so that when people come and can fulfill those positions, you can simply have it already lined up in every church. Everybody follow me? Next, women with the workers for Christ. We got all that laid out. It goes over their duties. To train women in Christian ministry. So forth, so forth. I'm not going to go over each one of them, but you'll see. Go to the next one. It's praying women. It talks about their duties. And everybody, every job, every office that you have in the church should have something like this. Whatever it is, if it's the choir, if it's the ushers, if it's the deacon, if it's the mothers, everything should have something that's written, a policy that they know this is the description, this is what you're supposed to do, and this is how I lay it out. Single women president. Let's go to the next one, Sister Sherry. Married women, living single president. It goes over all of the particular auxiliaries. And let's slow down just a little bit for me. Married women, all right, the MDST Guild, Ministers, Deacons, Steward, and Trustee Guild. All of this is stuff that you should have. Now, this book will help you once you get to it because it describes what we're supposed to be doing in the Church of God, the Bible way. You can give these to the different people that are in your auxiliary. Pastors, you can take these. You can take all the time you need when we get through. Fill these out. Now, one of the things I'm doing, I got all the answers to this book, every one of them. Every one of them. But I ain't giving it to you because I want you to spend time to write it so you'll know it. You'll get it. That way you can be able to write it and go back and implement it. But all this is already done. All right? The same system format can work in every auxiliary. So I just showed you a pattern of that one, the women's department, but that same can work in the brotherhood, the youth, every auxiliary that you have, you can do this. Is it making any sense? Yes, everybody's got it. All right. All right, then leaders have to create schedules. All right? And there are two schedules that a leader has. He has a schedule of operation and he has a schedule of preparation. A schedule of preparation and a schedule of operation, they're different. The schedule of operation, of preparation is your planning. All right? This is what I plan to do. A schedule of operation is what you are actually going to do. All right? Let's say a schedule of preparation. Meetings with the team to make sure that the ministries function properly. Examples. Choir rehearsal. Hospitality. You have preparational meetings before things begin to discuss how you're going to handle things. How, usher board, they're having meetings to say, okay, this Sunday we're going to, let's go back. Right. Okay. Usher board, you're having meetings, and your meetings are preparational meetings. You're talking about, all right, we're going to have a big Sunday this Sunday. We need to make sure that we have this prepared. We got the envelopes ready for Sunday. Stop asking for envelopes when church starts. We have church on Wednesdays, and we have church on Sundays. We have church on Tuesdays. You already know that. You ought to automatically be prepared. Why did the choir get up? They know they're supposed to sing. You have to wait 5 minutes for them to sing. You're on program, and they ask you to sing a solo, and you come up. Pray for me. Trying to see what the Lord going to give me here. He's going to give you a way out of here. You know you're going to do your office every day, so you should have meetings of preparations for the operations. Leaders must have scheduled meetings. This is based upon the nature of the ministry. So you should have scheduled meetings based upon the ministry. Some should do weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, bi-monthly, quarterly, yearly, semi-yearly, and that's based upon how much you function. How you function. We have choir rehearsal every Sunday and every Wednesday because we function every Sunday. So some things you don't have to meet for every week. Some things you don't have to week for, but you need to set those meetings up based upon, and then you have scheduled conflict. Sometimes we have scheduling conflicts. A big problem with scheduling is everyone's schedule is not the same. This is called scheduled conflicts, all right? And this happens. Have y'all ever had that happen? Guess how you fix that? Next page. Schedule preparation. This is what you do. You put all these days down. Monday, 8, and you give this to your leaders and have them to circle what day and time is best for them to come. Once you give them that, if a majority of them circle Wednesday at 2, that's when we're going to have it. A majority of them circle Friday at 4, you're going to give them that schedule, tell them to tell me when the best time for us to have this meeting, let them circle it, turn it back in, and you already know when the majority of your people can come. So if I got 10 people working on the board, I give all 10 of them this, and 7 of them put 5 o'clock on Friday, that's when our meeting is going to be. Not when you want to have it either, because you got people working with you. You don't always have to be, so you let that determine how you're going to schedule it. These forms are very important. So now, if I got a meeting, I can simply give it to everybody on there, tell them to circle to me when you're going to be available, and then turn it back in, and that's how we're going to set our meeting. That makes sense? Is that helpful? All right. Once each board member and auxiliary member has completed the preparation form, schedule a meeting for the time and date that is most convenient for the majority. Informing your staff of preparational meetings. Everybody with me? Keep up with the time with me, because I'm supposed to be through at what time? 12:15. What time we got now? 12 o'clock. I got 15 minutes. Informing your staff of preparation meeting. Even if the meetings are scheduled yearly, there should be a reminder 7 days before a meeting and the days of the meeting. We got to follow this. Even if you got a meeting that's scheduled, we just had a big the auxiliary meeting, executive board meeting. Most of y'all forget it. Most time people don't remember it. Some people do. And if you're a leader that do remember, then you think everybody else has remembered too. And so you call meetings and people don't show up, and you say they knew 7 days before any meeting that you have, unless it's a weekly meeting. If it's something that people don't do all the time, you need to call them and let them know 7 days. Not text them, call them. Even if you text them, call them again. And if you don't get a response from somebody confirming something, then don't say, I told them. If you text somebody or email somebody and they didn't respond to you on that email, I'm still going to hold you accountable. Because when you're dealing with things like that, you should expect a response, and a no response to me is that you didn't contact them. So everybody make sure, and you should have 3 forms of contact, and you should use all 3 of them, not one. You should give people a call, give people an email, and give people a text. One, I give people a call because I want to see the spirit that you said in. That's one. If I say we're having a meeting, again? Oh, you said, we do? Something out of that. That's important to me. And then the tone, you can't properly get the emotions of how a person feels when they text you back. You can't. Now they got all these faces and all this kind of stuff on there. There ain't no emotion in no words. You got to add it to it. Every leader, you should approach these people all forms of communication. All 3. Use all 3 and request a response and a reply. Don't just tell them, but let them know you want a response. Please respond yes or no. Please give me a call. Please, and then you got an email and you got your proof that I did it, and I asked them to respond. If they don't respond, the ball is off of you. So if I say to the staff, and y'all get this, so y'all may have it, and everybody can get it. If I say, I want you to contact such and such, such, that means I want to know that you have to contact them in 3 ways. And I say, how? I want to see an email, a text, and a call. If I don't see all 3 of them, you did not. and then give them a response, tell them to respond. Once I got that, then I can go back. Because sometimes people will intentionally drop the ball. They will intentionally drop the ball. And then they intentionally drop the ball and provide themselves with an excuse. People will text somebody, invite them, and turn their phone off. People are sabotaged up. So this protects me, and it protects you. And then what happens is if there's a problem, I can always say, hey, didn't he or she tell you to reply? And then they say, I replied. Then I can nail it down. Don't leave those open like that. Too much. It's too dangerous to do. Too much at stake to do. You got to be able to know who to hold accountable, who to touch, who to say, you dropped the ball. You dropped the ball. Amen. Follow up. If you receive no response, reply. If you do not receive a response, you do it again. Did you try to get in touch with such and such? Yeah, I did. I called. But I ain't get no response. You wasn't really trying to get in touch with nobody. When you try to get in touch with me, you know how to call. You call me and then call Sister Cowart phone. You can't call her. You call the church. So y'all know how to get in touch with people when you want to get in touch with them. Or at least to show an effort. Some of y'all are effortless in what you try to do. So you're effortless. You don't, and that's showing, don't just judge people by what they didn't get, but judge them for the lack of effort. So if they're under you, what effort did you put back? I told you that I needed Sister So-and-so to do such and such on the program. You said, I call her. What effort? You know how important I needed this. What effort did you put through to get in touch with her? Did you call her? Did you text her? Did you call her mama? What effort? In order to have an effective meeting, it must, where we are. All right. In order to have an effective meeting, setting agendas. In order to have an effective meeting, it must pre-plan, and agendas help keep order. Don't just go to having meetings. You should have an agenda. When you today, y'all don't have that in your book? Huh? It's not worded? Setting agenda. It's a if a. If, where's that at? If a meeting all right. You got it? In order to have an effective meeting, it must be pre-planned. That should have been exactly what you got in the book, but y'all write it down. Yeah, you can write that. You can write that or screenshot it. Y'all got it. Well, anyway, if you got to have an agenda. An agenda is for your discussion. Collect information from your staff of items that need to be discussed in the meeting. So what you need to do is you collect information. You know, you call this one and say, hey, I need to, what do you think we need to discuss? And then you set an agenda so when you go to a meeting, you ain't talking about, yeah, maybe. You already got whatever you're going to discuss. Write down who wants to discuss it. You got, all right, this is an example. John, he want to talk about the yard work, convention attendance. Sue, that's what she want to talk about. Financial report. Jerry, men's meeting, attendance. So that's your agenda. The agenda lists 2 columns. The committee, so you should have 2 columns on your list. You should have a committee's agenda. That's what the committee want to discuss and people on your board. And then the chairman. Those are things that you want to discuss. So you make 2 lists of what you want to discuss in your meeting. the stuff that you're bringing forth. Y'all know when we have the executive board meeting on the phone, we have the bishop's agenda and we have the floor's agenda. Okay? You have all those written down, and that's how you're going to make your agenda. And then next, you prioritize this. Because there's some things that you might not be able to discuss if the list is long. So you prioritize them by what is most important. So have a prioritized list of what you want to do. Then let's go to the next one. Then don't worry, we're going to have it all up for you. Prepare a written agenda at the beginning of the meeting and give it to each attendant. This will make the meeting meaningful and productive. Once you do that, you prepare an agenda and give everybody that's in that meeting a copy of that agenda, and they know what you're going to discuss. Give everybody a copy of it. Purpose of preparation of meeting. Plan for events, to receive responsibility, to receive directions, and to discuss participations. Right? That's the purpose of a preparational meeting. So they also need to know that this is the area, this is the scope of our discussion. Either we're meeting, we're going to be planning and talking about events. We're going to talk about whose responsibility it is to do such and such. We're going to give direction of what we're supposed to do for this particular task and discuss how we're going to get participation. An operational meeting. Another name for an operational meeting is the actual event. The actual event is preparational meeting in action. So now, say we're going to get together, we're going to have a meeting about something that we plan on doing. And we discuss that. But then we're getting ready for the actual event. We're going to discuss now how we're going to work in that event. How that's going to actually take place. How we're going to perform it. So I had several meetings, you that work with me on the phone with the Secret Service. We had several meetings that I was late to. Lewis was there to make sure that everybody was there. But, you know, we discussed everything, and then just a little bit before this, we discussed how we were going to do it and everything. Then we came here today and kind of organized it. Everybody knew their responsibilities, and we're all in different areas, and then we brought all that together, and it was done. So we kept having those operational meetings and preparation meetings. An operational layout in design is an important component of business overall operation. Both it's in terms of maximizing the effectiveness of the production process and meeting the needs of those involved. The basic objective of the layout is to ensure a smooth flow of work, material, and information through a system. So you have to have these layouts that lays out how everything is going to go. The Secret Service was here at 7:30 before everybody got here. Y'all already know what's in place, what I wanted done, how we needed it done, and it worked like that. We didn't have no problem. Dead on time, we were moving. That was important. So you lay out a system, have it already there, and then sometimes you run it through just to make sure that it's going. You double check it and make sure it's going well, all right? General orders and operation. Let's go back to this. Notify participants on program who are involved with an event 3 months in advance. If you got somebody involved, make sure that you notify them. By doing so, it will give you time to make all necessary adjustments if they turn it down. Send invitation to those who you like to attend the event at least 2 months prior to the event. So if you're inviting somebody to come in to be a part of something, give them at least a 2 month prior. Reconfirm with the participants 2 weeks before the event. Call them 2 weeks before because things come up and sometimes people won't call you. Auxiliary members should be to the event at least 3 hours prior to the start of the event. So all you that are auxiliary members If you got an event going on, you should be there at least 3 hours before. You should never, and you know you don't do business like that, you should never plan a breakfast and the breakfast start at 5 and you come at 4:59. You know you got to cook. You got to know food that got to be prepared. You don't do anything like that at the last minute. I was here today at 5:45. I was at 5:45. 6 o'clock, the brothers told me they was going to be at 6. I called y'all. 6 o'clock, where you at? Because you understand this is the preparation. And I know, and you know what time it takes for you to be ready for something to take place. If you cooking grits, you don't, if you cooking on the oven, you got preheat. And you want that stove heated when you put the stuff in. Too many of y'all operate by spare of the moment. That ain't business. If you're over something, you're giving something. Whom much is given, much is required. Pastors, you should be on time for church. You're training people's spirits wrong when they're late. The Bible talks about being slowful. I can count on one hand I ever started a service late. When it comes down, because I want you to know how to be on time. When it comes down to service time, that's God's time. When it turn at 7 o'clock, when it hit, praying women, you pray every week. You ought to be there. You and the whole team, 7 o'clock. Deacons, preachers, everybody. If the pastor is delayed, y'all supposed to be operating, getting things going. 7 o'clock. 6 o'clock. To make sure things are prepared. The air may need to be cut on before. Get there before church to cut it on. Make sure everything's fine. All right? Auxiliary members should be at least to an event 3 hours prior to the event. General orders and operations. All right? Once a general order and operation is set, each auxiliary leader should have a clear understanding of their position. Each one should have a clear understanding of what they are supposed to do. It's that time? All right. Well, we're going to lunch. Now, look, y'all. Please don't play with my time. 12:15. We got 45 minutes for lunch. Somebody said, how I'm going to eat in 45 minutes? Fast. 45 minutes, there are places around. We got some snacks, different places around here. And there's some places right up the road. Please try to be back on time. That's why you got, and y'all didn't know it, but I think that there are rooms. Somebody said that we can check in at 1. Is that true? You can? They said some of you can check in at 1 o'clock. If you didn't know, then now we know. All right? That's what they said. If you want to register, you can register. Okay, some can check in now. They go to the front lobby. To the front lobby. Right down that road there straight. Okay. If you need to register, you got a pen? Let me use it. They got some front door. They got a place right down the road. It ain't even 15